Oh, would you look at that?
What? Look at what?
It's
What's
just,
happening?
It's just gone past midday and it's Friday. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yes, Friday, indeed. He's
Oh,
ahead of the wave. He's ever so brave. He is our very own Phil Dave.
do you see that? That's what I did there. This was a visual gag. It's ahead of the wave.
Yeah, you ruined it.
Thanks.
You just ruined the whole thing.
Oh, for goodness
I
sake.
thought of that. Yeah, I was just washing my hands, and I thought I'll come up with some ridiculous little thing, Anywho, hello everybody. Yes, we've made it through the first week of January. Oh, thank goodness for that. Gimme Lashma. Happy all. Oh, jeez. Hello all. Happy New Year. Do you know, it'd be fantastic if I learned to read. I could be quite,
Do you know what? I've always found it a useful skill. You should try and master that. It's not bad.
No. Paul Andrews, who I was having very interesting emails with. Afternoon, chaps. Phil, live from his cell. Well, yes.
I have to tell you, if a cell is like this, it's not really a wonder people break the law.
Is this Rupert's personal office, or what are you? Just Rebecca's, or whose is it? Whose office? It's nice. It looks
Couldn't
nice.
possibly
Got big
comment.
Big.
Well,
big
one should never boast about the size of one's windows. I always find.
Coming up later in the show, we've got the lovely Chantal Rickards going through all the TV and stuff. I only started watching, as I was recommended. I mean, talk about late to the bloody party, right? I started watching Clarkson's Farm 2 days ago.
Oh, yes.
It's just genius. It's absolutely fantastic.
Now, do you know what? I'm sorry. You say genius. I struggle a little bit with it because I've watched some episodes with a friend of mine who's got Amazon. I don't have Amazon Prime. Quite proudly, I don't know Amazon Prime, so I can't necessarily watch it on demand myself. But I have watched it with a friend who has got it, and it was all right. It wasn't
all right.
in my mind.
Absolutely cracked up.
I think people laugh out of nerves.
What?
I think people laugh more out of nerves, but yeah, it's all right.
No, what have we got going here? Happy New Year, gentlemen. Listening from my walk round Ricelip Lido. Oh my God, I used to hang out round Ricelip Lido.
Gracious, do you think that's where they get the name Lido Shuffle from?
Lido, do. What's he saying?
Boss.
Oh, love Clarkson's Farm. My favourite quote is about Moses. Won't spoil it if you haven't seen it. Well, I haven't seen it, so don't. I haven't seen that bit.
Not quite.
It's very. I think it's very, very good. Facebook user, who is you? Who is you, Facebook user? We've got lots
the problem with Facebook user is, I'm afraid that, so just to let you know, Facebook user, you're the one who wrote the comment about the Rice Lido or Lido, whichever one you want to call it.
Yes, that's right.
So let us know who you are, because unfortunately it doesn't say who you are. That's fine. Paul Andrews, Clarkson Farm is like gone fishing. Gentle telly is the new thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
What are you doing? Face. What are you doing? The face.
Oh, it's Jeff S. Apparently.
Jeff S.
Do you think that's a typo? Maybe it's JFS. Yeah.
It's obviously JFS. Francine Warner, she lives in Mill Hill, and she puts the toilet paper into a little point in the downstairs
We've got guests around. Do you not?
You must get one day. We'll get you around to Fran's house, and you will
100% would get on like a house on fire, because I did. It's exactly what I did. If we got guests coming around, it was a little triangle like the hotels do.
Oh Jesus, unbelievable! You are. That show. What's it saying?
You can't say there's no point to me. Anyway.
Oh, for goodness sake, Jeff Stevenson! I thought you were miles away.
Oh.
Oh my God, is it Jeff? See, we can't see this. We're not being thick. That showbiz Hayes pants out the happiest 2 months. Jeff Stevenson and I shared a dressing. We had that. Just
how soon? Oh no, he's getting upset now. How soon they forget? No. Honestly, Jeff, I promise you, you're not coming up as Jeff. It's coming up literally saying Facebook user. Okay, if we show you, have a look. Have a look. That's what's coming up on our screen. Can you see that? It just says Facebook user. We're not being horrible. I promise you. Well, Russ may be being horrible because that's standard. But
shut up.
What?
Just shut up. He's a
Lisa Janes,
very dear friend of mine.
Yes, so dear, you call him Facebook user. Lisa Janes says, "Ha! Very happy New Year to you and your families." Well, Lisa, thank you, and it is reciprocated. I'm quite sure.
That's a blooming lootly. Right, now, J.K. Rowling.
Hang on, I need to make. Hang on. Before you go down the route to J.K. Rowling, okay? I'm sorry. I'm afraid I'm sure you probably did this on Wednesday, and thank you by the way to lovely Demisa who stood in on Wednesday. Thank you very much. Oh, did she not? Did she not? She could not be bothered in the end. she can be bothered. Okay, fine.
In that case, I go, look, it's not going to work out. And I just...
Oh. Okay, that's the reason why. Okay, I do apologise. Okay, in that case, no thanks to lovely Demisa whatsoever. I mean, I'll thank her for the company on the journey home, because you wouldn't have said this on Wednesday because you're far too modest about it. But there was a very nice luncheon that myself, that Chantal Rickards, who I'm sure we'll mention later on as well, and lovely Demisa and a couple of others attended. And it was on Tuesday, and certain Mr. Kane over that way. There he is. There you go. There. Mr. Kane, that one there, right? He was responsible, along with his arguably better half, for some rather marvellous food. And so I just want to say publicly, thank you kindly. It was a very nice way to spend an afternoon.
No need to do that. It's an absolute pleasure. Crazy gal, crazy name. We haven't got the jingle, otherwise we'd go.
No, sorry.
We'd do the whole thing. We'd do the whole thing for Eve Phantom. It's got to be the coolest name on the planet, Eve Phantom. It's just the coolest name ever. Jeff,
do you think if she dressed up with a sort of like a Santa suit, would she be Christmas Eve? Thank you.
Hey, all right, ladies and gentlemen, the comedy stylings of Mr. Phil Dave. He'll be back from the midnight show in the espresso bar.
I've had a couple of weeks off.
Please give it up for one of Britain's finest stand-up comics, ladies and gentlemen. You love him. He's your friend. He's my friend, Mr. Jeff Stevenson.
Okay, well, there you go. I thought it was my intro there. You must just suggest that I've had a couple of weeks off, and as a result of it, I'm totally and utterly full, I'm afraid, of Christmas cracker jokes. So I'm very sorry about that, but anyway.
I didn't pull any. Make your own gags. I didn't pull any crackers. It's a very, very low key. I think everyone was just thrilled to make it alive out of 2022.
No, do you know what? We haven't had much of a chance to talk about this, actually, because even though I know sort of the Omicron wave was discovered, or the Omicron variant, I should say, was discovered sort of before we took a little Christmas break. So I know we did. I know we did talk about it, but I don't know about others. I very slowly but surely realized quite quickly this wasn't quite as horrific as earlier variants, and therefore I wasn't quite as panic stricken as the days went on. So for me, initially, when the first time it was announced, when they first announced Omicron had been discovered, I thought, oh no, here we go again. I can't do this anymore. Really, really can't stand this anymore. But as soon as the days went on a bit, and actually sort of the numbers were thankfully relatively low, obviously, any number is terrible for any family who's going through it. But I slowly but surely calmed down. I just wondered whether or not others felt the same. Maybe they were sort of a bit calmer.
Omicron is that it's more catchy, more catching, but it's less ghastly. So if you get it, it's not brilliant, but it's not too terrible. But it is very contagious.
Kimmy's been at the crackers as well. I got a bad thesaurus for Christmas. Not only was it terrible, but it was terrible. I appreciated it, Kimmy, even if he doesn't.
Gag again. If I got a bad Jeff Stevenson again. I got a bad thesaurus for Christmas. Not only was it terrible, but it was. Oh yeah, that's quite clever.
You see, it's a very clever joke.
Across the New York State, they don't talk like that. Yeah, I know they don't. I know there's no point in reminding me. I know they. There's something.
He's answering himself now.
Bloody mad. Well, good day, Russ and Phil. That's Asa Don Brown. Asa Don Brown.
A very happy new year to you, sir. And I do hope that things are as bearable stateside as they can be, especially given how dramatic your current leader would have people believe it was. So
a load of old pants.
That was quite an extraordinary way of when he was sort of saying about how when it overshadowed democracy or something like that. Oh, come on,
a load of old bullshit.
Come on, please.
I mean, it wasn't great, but they talk about making hay while the sun doesn't shine. I'll have a bet with Asa. I'll have a bet with you, Phil, but I don't think you'll take my bet. Come the midterms, he's going to get an arse whooping of the first order. And come the next election, he's going to open a can of whoop ass.
Well, he might be getting an arse wiping, but then again, one would assume that's quite normal at a certain age.
Stop it now! Come on,
Chrissy Richards. Chrissy Richards. I am hacked off. She says here 2,576. That's quite precise per 100,000.
Yeah.
Hi boys, just come back from chasing the gas man. lucky old gas man. I am happy, especially if my daughter tests negative.
What are you doing here? What are you doing? Oh right, chasing the gas. That gas man must be bloody exhausted. All she does is chase this poor sod. There's a brilliant channel I've been watching.
Firing in all cylinders.
We'll come back to J.K. Rowling in a second because Phil's determined to avoid it. I found this channel on YouTube. And by the way, I'm sorry I'm wearing a hat. I'm not trying to be trendy or anything. I've been exercising and my hair looks like a raving lunatic. I mean, my hair looks like I could be Prime Minister of Britain. That's how bad my hair is this morning. So
gracious.
Oh, yeah. It's really... Anyway. God's sake. Anyway, politicians, they're all terrible. I mean, let's just face it. They're all go. Hey, Phil, I got something to cheer you up. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, hence the hat. I read today. Are you ready, Phil?
Oh, boy.
It's going to explode.
Oh, no, I read the news today. Oh, boy, sorry.
1,000. It's one of my favorites. Oh, I love that song.
That is without doubt my favorite Beatles song.
Is it really?
A Day in the Life is just an extraordinary piece of art.
As good as Norwegian Wood?
No. A Day in the Life is an extraordinary piece of art.
It's terrific. It is absolutely fabulous. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Right.
Sorry, I divulged. Yes, so you were indeed reading something today.
What is this? What is this from Lisa James? What's she saying here? What is she?
Russ, please try and be more compliant to your viewers. This is a mental health station.
Yeah, we know that.
There are people watching this.
That's why I invested in it, Lisa. That's why we pay for it. That's right. We know that.
There are people watching this that need to voice what they are going through. You need to have more empathy.
With who?
When does he not have empathy?
What are you talking about here?
Honestly, Lisa, you've lost me as well. What's he not had empathy with?
Absolutely not following you at all, Lisa. Not following it.
I'm very happy to have a go at Russ when necessary, but I promise you I haven't noticed it. So
now this is interesting, and Ramsey's right because you're blowing my eardrums out, guys. The audio balance between Russ and Phil is not quite right. Phil has twice the dBs of Russ. Absolutely. Every time you speak, like I'm getting more of the wax blown out of my ears. Then what's going on there?
Good heavens!
Seriously. Let's go back to Spain. It's good fun. Cheaper off lot. What are we talking about now?
Is that any better for you?
Yeah, that's way better. Thank you.
There you go. I do apologize.
Infinitely better because
thank you.
You know, it's like standing next to the speakers when Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend were at their height.
I humbly apologize if my voice was booming.
All right, let's go to Robert Van Buren. He doesn't talk like that, but he sounds like he should be. Robert Van Buren.
What do you know everyone who's double-barreled or sort of got fancy names?
Isn't this a great name, Robert Van Buren? Lisa James, I'm still puzzled. I just don't understand your message. You've obviously got some sort of beef.
Is Robert Van Buren some sort of football player or something?
Yeah, he plays for Spurs. No,
just because it's a football. I was because there's a football player in his profile picture. I just wonder whether Gracious is a quite young chap. How do you know someone that young? Anyway.
God, you're so rude.
Elizabeth Green,
New York State and Spain, and let's go across immediately. Do you know what? My mouse is dying here.
Oh, should you want me to take over? Should I just
no,
try
I don't want
for technology?
No, because you're too loud. Snow here. Good morning. That's Elizabeth Green in Manhattan.
Well, it doesn't sound like a very good morning if it's that cold.
No, it's free. When it's cold in New York, boy, is it cold. Wow. I mean, people moan about London, but New York City, when it's cold, I used to live there, I know.
Yeah, but you know why, though? It's the wind chill factor of the tall buildings.
Yeah, it is free. You walk round the corner, bang! You're like, whoa.
Everyone goes on about how fantastic the tall buildings are and stuff. Well, I'm sorry, they're not. They
I'll
kind
be back in a second. I have something to...
Oh, good Lord, I do beg your pardon. I'm so sorry for keeping... Can you imagine this on the Today programme? Right in the middle of a link. I'm so sorry. I have something to do. Bang, he's gone. Oh, no, never mind. Well, look, all the same. It's obviously all of those tall buildings you see causing quite a wind draft. Or something along the lines. I don't know. I didn't pay much attention. Oh, you're on the wrong side now. Hang on a second.
That's your stupid fault.
For goodness sake. Right, hang on a second.
Elizabeth Green says it's
hang on. Can we switch? Can we switch, okay?
Okay. One,
right,
two.
Click your fingers. Done. Thank you. Much better.
I'm like Elizabeth Montgomery, aren't I? I could do this with my nose.
Can you not do... Hang on. You not do your nose on your own?
No. No, that it just looks like you've got.
That just looks like I've got a bad smell on my nose.
Yes,
no, it's
what
true.
Have we got?
I can't help it.
Said hello.
We
haven't said hello to. Hello, everybody, peeps. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope the season was good.
Now.
Thank you for your invitation, Sen. I won't. You know what I'm like at the moment.
Hang on a second. You actually got an invitation. Are you talking about what he went to yesterday?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. He gets an invitation. I have to read it on Facebook 4 hours late and then say, I'm so sorry I couldn't because I'm going to bed late. Anyway, going to bed early. Anyway.
No, I won't go because I'm not going into any indoor spaces.
I would have gone for that. Oh, would have loved to have seen that. Sadly, it was a little too late. But anyway.
I grew up with that. You got to.
I
don't know what the thing is.
You grew up with his brother.
What's it called? You got to twiddle your knob. You're still kind of deafening. In fact, it's so loud.
Is that any better?
No, you're distorting slightly. It's weird.
That is very odd.
That's better when you did that. Okay, there we are. Nothing like doing engineering on the fly.
Live radio at its finest, everybody.
Live radio at its bloody worst.
There you go. I'm sure that will be much better for you.
I'm a little worried. I've got to go back to it. I'm a little worried about Lisa James because David Suchet. Yeah, I grew up. Sen, I didn't want to tell you yesterday. I grew up with David. Our families were very, very close. We'd go on holiday together as kids and everything. And I knew David when he was working in Moss Bros. And his mum would say, please tell David to stop this nonsense thinking about acting. And I'd go, Joan, I call her Auntie Joan. Auntie Joan is a great actor. And he's one of our finest actors ever. And I've been a fan since I was very, very young. And his brother, Peter's one of my closest friends. We've been friends since we were 13, 14,
I think they missed a trick, though. Make no mistake. Of course, they are a superb entertainment dynasty, what with sort of not only being a mighty fine actor, but also, of course, John Suchet being a superb broadcaster.
And Peter Suchet just being my pal.
Well, quite. And not to mention that both Peter's sons also do that, dabbling in broadcasting as well.
Richard's in broadcasting as well. It's hilarious. The last time I saw Richard,
does occasionally do some presentation stuff.
Do you want to feel old? Last time I saw Peter's sons, who are now big shots at Sky, I believe. I mean, seriously.
Well, Richard is. I don't think Alex is.
But last time I saw them, they were tiny kids at Montessori school, and they'd just learnt to put on their coats. It was so sweet. And Peter would say, look at this, Russell, look at this. And you see these two little kids, and they were just able to put on their coats by themselves. And now he reports for Sky. What the hell?
Well, let's give you some sense of perspective in life, shall we? I'm fairly sure I've told you this before, but I was at the same school as Alex Suchet.
No, I know. That's how young you are and how old.
Terrible.
Good afternoon, gent, says Luke Newman, who's a very
Not the
interesting
school. I meant terrible for you.
Oh, this is great. Look at this.
Good Lord.
Received great news. Anglian News. Oh no, that was Sale of the Century. Anglian News will be sending a film crew tonight.
Live from Norwich. It's the quiz of the week. Wasn't that the longest intro ever? It just went on and on and on. It's no wonder Nicholas Parsons looks so old. He spent half his life waiting for the Sale of the Century to start.
Bloody titles to win. That was with the absolutely gorgeous Emma Noble, who's still one of my best mates. She's so lovely. Emma Noble Baker, as she's now. Good afternoon, gents. I've just received great news, Luke. Anglian News will be sending a film crew to my For Men to Talk and Walk event this Sunday, promoting mental health and exercise. Fantastic. Luke, I got to tell you something. As an aside, well done. We love it when things happen to our gang. Nice things, not bad things. Oh, look at Sen, you great twerp. On the text came up as David Sushi.
Do you know what? That text dictation has got an awful lot to answer for. Because did they ever tell you about the time when there's a traditional greeting sort of on a Friday evening for those who are not of Jewish persuasion? On a Friday, when it's the Sabbath, traditional greeting, you'd say to someone, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, so that just basically means have a peaceful Sabbath. Okay. Anyway, I dictated a text message. You could tell that Siri is most certainly not created by anyone who is of Jewish faith, because when I did that and sent it off to text, I read afterwards to my horror that it had finished off the text message to someone saying, shut up, your mum. Anyway, so of course...
But I thought you ran the world. You control the media. What's going on? Melissa James. Let's do. Phil, we don't shy away from these things. Phil and I just take these things. Now, Lisa, with respect, I just think Do you want to read this out, Phil? Because it's obviously aimed at me, so you can read it out.
Well, absolutely. Okay, so fine. So what Lisa has said, she says that I just think instead of talking about things that are irrelevant, i.e., how cold it is in New York, why are you not asking people to phone in with how they're feeling? You have 12 people listening. I'd like to think we've got a bit more than that.
12
but
people,
you.
Apart from the 42,000 listening on Deluxe Radio. You're quite right. Yeah, obviously.
We've got 12 people here. I think what we've got is we've got 12 people interacting at the moment. We've actually now got 15, but that's fine. We don't mind. It's not about the numbers. We're about just helping people, hopefully.
It's not 15 people. They're just very clear here. It is not 15 people in the audience.
It's 15. No, it's 15 people interacting at this precise moment in time, and that's fine. Okay.
Not listening.
Why are you talking about your past? I'm pretty sure I have been the only person that rang you and broke down live. Maybe concentrate on mental health. Well, Lisa, can I just say, I mean, I'm fairly sure Russ will have an answer for this as well. But I think that sort of this, we're possibly a bit boisterous because this is the first program that we've done together in the new year. I do appreciate that sometimes Russ and I can go off on a little bit of a tangent, for which I apologize. But by and large, by and large, I think that it is fair to say that if we were to do mental health stuff all the time, instead of actually just being sometimes a forum for people to just, I hate the expression, but it seems appropriate, shoot the breeze, so to speak. Honestly, I think it could actually have a detrimental effect. It could have the reverse effect. People could find it possibly a bit overwhelming if it's nonstop. But you are quite right. We are first and foremost about mental health. And obviously,
Lisa, phone up. You don't need an invitation.
Oh, well, hang on a second. We can't phone today because I'm not.
You're not at your actual desk.
Don't have my studio, so I.
No, he hasn't got his studio. He's only in the most expensive studios that have been built in memory.
I know it sounds counterintuitive. I know that.
It is. Elizabeth Green from New York. Weather has a bearing on how one feels, Lisa. Well, you're not wrong. And Dave Sleet, who's head of A&A, who's like only deals in mental health, is saying this. Where are we? I got the wrong one. Dave Sleet. Here we go. Balance is the key. I mean, if we just did, you're an idiot. Veronica Curran, let's dash up to Edinburgh. Hi, gents. Waiting to get mum moved to hospital. Friday is a fun show. Mental health here would be broken without you both.
Well, blimey, thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
Look, Lisa, here is the thing. It's a completely open, it's the open forum. You don't have to go through producers and 12-year-old interns at the BBC to see if you're going to come on air and if your point's going to be, and if you fit the right box and all this. You're here. Everyone can see the comments. We don't censor them at all. I hate censorship. You say whatever you want. Other radio stations would have shut that down. I'm not going to shut it down because it's your view and you're 100% entitled. I've got the feeling, and I'm being a little intrusive here. I know that things aren't too good. I remember when you phoned up and you were in a very bad way. And believe me, over on Twitter and my Facebook page, and when I go through stuff, the number of people who are in a very bad way is huge. It's huge. I'm not minimizing it. I wouldn't be minimizing it if I'd invested. Remember, this is a CIC. I don't often mention this, but I will. This is a CIC company, as is Women's Radio Station. That is a community interest company, which means it's a charitable status. It also means that nobody takes a penny from anything that we do on Men's Radio Station or Women. We never take a penny. We invest our own money, which we have done from the start, myself, Howard, and Penny. That's our own money to make this work. All right. The only people who receive a salary are the production team behind the scenes. They're the only people who get paid. Nobody else gets paid. We do it because we're passionate about it. We do it because it's a mission and we want to make a difference. So I appreciate you're probably hurting today, but understand that is my commitment towards mental health. And the same with Phil. Phil is like one of the busiest producers in British radio. I know we muck about and knock about with silly cannonball comedy, the rest of it. But Phil is a very senior producer on some of the biggest shows on radio. He doesn't need to do this. He does it because he wants to do it. And hopefully, well, I don't really give a shit if he enjoys it or not. And he turns up. I mean, let's just face it, he just turns up. But, he's a very, very busy guy. That's our commitment. So please
your
don't
flattery knows no bounds, but I wouldn't quite
never
describe him as the biggest.
You know what I'm saying here? Right, let's go to Aaron Carey. Hello, Aaron. Some light conversation can be a good escape for some people, especially when it's real, spontaneous, and uncensored. Keep it up, guys. Great show. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Then we've got Luke Newman. What have we got? As the founder of a CIC, I know how hard it is. You do magazine work, gents. Thank you very, very much. It is tough. Let's not kid ourselves. It's tough. We don't get any grants. We do nothing. We just do it because we want to do it.
We don't get grants, but we get chance. There you go. Just saying.
You see, I wouldn't have done that. She was blowing her nose.
I didn't see that. I didn't realise at that split second.
You idiot!
Sorry, Chantal.
Anyone who wipes their nose on a live broad. I mean, how bloody unprofessional would that be? To stop the show, go and get a Kleenex, come back and wipe your nose. I mean, what idiot would do? Oh, that would be me. What else have we got here? People spark up comments and discussion ensues. It's just great having this program to know we can all connect. That's right, Kimmy. It's your show. As I say a million times, we're just the conduits. We're just the wires, the pipes, if you like. In Phil's case, if you ever met him, he's just the pipe cleaner. He's like a biro walking around. Nothing of him. But
thanks. Is that reference to like my hair? Actually, my hair does look a bit like a pipe. No, but hang on a second. Hang on. It's true. I've never really thought of it like that actually before. But genuinely, if I actually sort of rub the back of my hair, because it's all short there, it's all short all over, but I rub the back of my hair, it does feel a little bit like the consistency of a pipe cleaner. I've never thought of it before. Hey, if this radio malarkey fails me, I've got a new career ahead of me. Fabulous.
Well, this is it. You could be a pipe cleaner, and not only that, I feel, but you and your
I could be a chimney sweep. I got my built-in brush.
Of course, you have you and your. I can't even be bothered to do the gag. Right, this is sweet. Hang on, this is very sweet.
Was that
Sending
laugh?
you hugs, Lisa James. Absolutely. Look, Lisa, Don't hurt in private. Come talk to us, for goodness sake. Come and talk to us anytime. You know that. From Dave Sleet, head of ANA, MRS and WRS, that's Men's Radio Station, Women's Radio Station. If you're listening on Deluxe Radio and thinking, what the hell? Were both awarded ethical and psychological contribution awards from APA because of the open and safe approach the whole team take.
Thank you, Dave. Dave, I hope it's not prying, but I'm hoping you're okay, because I know that things were at you.
Yes, I know. Well, I've been waiting for a phone call from Mr. Sleet for some time. I hope he's okay. I do. I know it's funny. Two of the guys who are, we've got a lot going on in 2022, and they're both not been 100%. So we send our love and a big thing.
And I'd just like to say we're not the cause of it.
It's nothing to do with us. No, for one. It's nothing to do with us. That's the news, Chantal, who's coming on in just a second. I just want to say something.
Only one thing.
Oh, you're so annoying, quite frankly. Oh, yeah. What I was going to say, I just want to say this about open radio and the way that we look at you, like it's a family, right? I'm not going to mention any names, but Phil knows where I'm going to go with this. I was asked to do a show 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, with somebody very, very well known on television, well known on radio. And we'd never met, never interacted before or anything like that. They came to me, the producers phoned me up, would you be on the show? I'm like, okay, I'm delighted. I don't get paid for it, I just did it. So I could hook up with an old chum. And this guy, and remember, we'd never met before. And I'd been invited, I didn't ask to go on, I didn't know anything about it. Was so rude to me and so insulting. I decided, if they ever phone me again for that show, I would tell them where to go. I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. And it's the opposite of the way that our approach on MRS and WRS. It's not what I want. It's not what we want for people. Let's go back to Lisa, and then we're bringing on Chantal. I completely understand. You read it out, Phil. Go on.
Thanks. Just finishing off.
Oh, you got a mouthful. God, you're so unprofessional. I completely understand what you do. I love you guys. I am proud of you. Just wish you would talk about the real issues of mental health. Okay. My apologies. I'm watching. Oh, Jesus Christ. No wonder you're in a state, you poor sausage. I am watching my mother die with absolutely no support. Oh, my God. I have no family. I'm not well myself. Loneliness is so debilitating. Well, loneliness is a killer, Lisa. It's awful when you're watching your mum go. That is a point. Have you got is there no cousins? Nothing? Nobody at all? Just nobody? Boy, oh boy, that's rough. You poor thing. If you want to speak, I mean, not now, but if you want to speak or you want to write to me privately, please do. This, I can't.
Lisa, let me make it very, very clear. Yep. Words are cheap, but I mean this. From all of us at MRS, you are not on your own. Okay, please don't ever think like that.
No, we're always here. We are always here. Right. Let's levitate once again, ladies and gentlemen. Chantal Regards.
Ooh.
Levitate from the dead, not quite dead.
No, not you. Hang on a minute. Where are we now? We in Jamie Oliver's kitchen, or what's going on there? What is that?
No, hang on. Let me get myself a bit centered.
I tell you what we can do, Chantal. We can just do that. There you go.
Oh, that's way better. We've gone. Yeah. We don't need to see us. We just like seeing you. That's improved things immensely.
No, it feels a bit like Jamie Oliver's kitchen. It's my brother's kitchen, actually, down in Somerset. And the proud owner of a lovely British business called Cornishware. Plug.
Let's say it again. I love those mugs.
Yeah,
I love those mugs.
That's my brother's business. These very iconic blue and white striped mugs. They also have other colours too. And he bought the company from receivership a few years ago and has turned it round. And the clay comes from Cornwall, and all the artistry and the paint effects are done down here in Somerset.
Let's see it again. May we? Maybe see it again? It's gorgeous.
May we? Are you going back to Poirot? What's wrong with you?
Boy, oh boy, look at this from Paul Andrews. Let's start the year off as we mean to go on. Another year passes and Chantal looks another year younger. How's that work? I don't know. But up in her attic, there's a portrait.
I'm just going back in years. I'm just getting younger and more stupid, and that suits me.
That's with the life that we have. I think getting younger and more stupid is a plan. Quite honestly, that's kind of the only thing that works.
Can I just say, by the way, we sort of overlooked a message from Paul Claridge a little earlier on that I want to just very quickly read out. I probably won't put it on the screen because otherwise we're all going to disappear. But just very quickly, it reads, "Good afternoon," or he says, "I'm struggling to be my usual jovial self today. Health-wise, I'm fine, but there has just been a lot of sad news for me lately, both within my family and from close friends. More sad news today from a close friend, and I can't be there for her when she needs me the most. Hopefully, I'll see her tomorrow." Paul, sorry you're having a rough day.
Sorry about that.
Well, yeah, everyone's got their own stuff. Kimmy's come up with a very good point. I'm sorry, Chantal, for 1 second, because it is important. Kimmy is saying to Lisa, contact an admiral nurse. You can't be strong every day, and this is so true, Lisa. You can't. What you're going through is horrendous, and too many people close to me have died, and it takes an enormous toll on you. So please, if you can get an admiral nurse, or maybe contact Macmillan. I don't know. I mean, they were used. I'd be frankly, absolutely blunt. They were terrible for me. Absolutely terrible. But there we go. Neither here nor there. Right. First of all, thank you, Chantal, for Clarkson's Farm. I was suggested that Madam suggested I watched it 2 nights. I just was cracked up from beginning. Oh my God, it was. Phil's not so keen, but I was just completely gone with it. Loved it. Thank you.
Good. I think they're making a second series. I don't know.
They are.
Going, but let's hope.
At the very least, they've sowed the seeds.
Yeah. Oh, dear. And Happy New Year, by the way, guys.
Oh, Happy New Year. When is it? You know everything, Shantas. When is it time to stop having to say that? I think we can do that now, can't we?
No, I think today is the last day when realistically you should probably stop saying. It's been a week, isn't it? So it's already we've only got 51 weeks to the next New Year. So
that's true. But we haven't gathered together on the radio in 2022 until
this is true. We have not.
Yeah, this is good. So Clarkson's Farm, absolutely terrific. Okay, that's enough from us. Ladies and gentlemen, Chantal Regards.
Well, there is masses out there at the moment. Lots of good new things to watch. A lot of movies coming through. It's awards season, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. I did my BAFTA voting on Monday for the first round. It's such a responsibility. It's very scary stuff. And I've been reading all the reviews of all the different films and thinking, well, do I match up to all the critics? Am I in line with everybody else? And often I'm not. Often I'll find something that I like about a film that other people don't like, and vice versa. And I suppose that's all I can say really about coming to you guys once a week, is just telling you what I'm enjoying and what I like.
That's it. That's all we'd like.
But how many times do we hear the critics say this, that, and the other about some film or something like that? And frankly, it's one of the biggest hits. So, I mean, they don't know what they're talking about half the time.
Yeah. Well, it is all down to what you like. It's very personal watching telly. I can tell you what's great. I can't necessarily tell you that you're really going to enjoy it, but I can certainly tell you it's good, which is rather like the first film I'm going to mention, which is out there in the cinema, the good old cinemas, which are still open at the moment, of course. And it's something called The Lost Daughter, and everybody is talking about it. It's the new film with Olivia Colman. There is a lot of talk about whether she will win another Oscar or indeed another BAFTA. She plays the part, it's a contemporary story, she plays the part of a sort of middle-aged university professor who goes on holiday, rather like Shirley Valentine, goes on holiday to Greece. But there's obviously a backstory as to why she's on her own in this small village in Greece. She then meets a young woman who is played by Dakota Johnson, whom some people will know from 50 Shades of Grey, and who's actually a very good and talented actress, and also
is she?
Beautiful young woman too.
Yeah.
And she is a young mother whose daughter suddenly goes missing on the beach. And without giving too much away, the daughter is found really quite quickly by Olivia Colman. But then a sort of mystery starts to unfold. It's not really a mystery. It's a drama. It's one of those thinking movies. You get to the end of it. Have I learned something? What am I supposed to take away from this? The performances are extraordinary. It's the directorial debut of Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Gracious.
Jake's twin.
Jake's
sister. Not twin. Sorry, sister, yes.
And it's a very good directorial debut. A lot of people are talking about whether she will win awards for her work. It's ponderous. It's not an all-action, out there, quick-paced movie. It's certainly something that's going to sort of press the buttons in terms of intellect and making us think a bit more. But it's
not for Phil. It's not for Phil.
Chantal, how do you feel about it? Because I'm sorry, this to me, I'm not suggesting for a second that Maggie Gyllenhaal isn't talented. I'm sure she is. I haven't seen the film, so I can't comment from that perspective. But I do sometimes find it curious how people can just turn from one to the other, say from either acting to producing, directing, whatever it may be, at the drop of a hat. And yet there are so many people out there who clearly do have raw talent, who would never see that opportunity. I just wonder sort of how you feel about sort of this notion of sort of people flitting from one to the other just because they're already a name.
Well, I'm really interested in how people do both. When I was in television, I was a producer and a director, and I started out as a producer, and it didn't really mean that I was going to be any good behind the camera. It meant that I could organize. That's really what a producer's job is. But actually, I really enjoyed being behind the camera too. And I picked up a hell of a lot in my first 3 or 4 years in television, watching what the director was doing and watching how he put scenes together. And then I went on a director's training course, and I found I was able to do it myself. I'm very interested by the people in Hollywood who have gone from one to the other. People like George Clooney, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, that they've crossed the divide between, as they say, gob on a stick, a sort of somebody who can walk and talk and be told how to do it, through to the person who's actually running the show or running the film. It tends to be and this is a mass generalization, the sort of better educated people who I think want to get more involved in the story and the storytelling. And I think that that's what they find appealing. And that's why they cross from being an actor who is basically told how to walk and talk to then moving into the decision-making process and bringing a story to life themselves.
And of course, having just said that myself, I have just remembered, of course, that it was only quite recently, in fact, last year, that I was allowed to make the jump from producer to broadcaster
for one of the stations.
Yeah,
how is that? How is
technically speaking, I'm walking a very fine line, so I shall shut up now.
Yeah, I would. I'd really quit flapping there. I'd like to ask Chantal a question, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier about personal opinion. There's a film out called Don't Look Up, okay, which all the wokerati think is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I watched it, and my view was, the cast is amazing. How the hell they could afford a cast like that, I don't know. It was the cast was stunning.
That's what people say about this show.
Yeah,
you are the Meryl Streep of this show.
Meryl Streep.
And I watched the film, and it did not have. It's a long film. It's over 2 hours. It didn't have one. And this is just my opinion. It did not have one fresh idea. There was not one new thought in that film. So then when I said that, what fascinates me, and this is about critics, and this is where you find yourself with BAFTA, and you're voting, so you're much more in it than Phil and I will ever be. But I was told, well, you're just stupid, you don't understand. And I was furious, because have we got to the stage in life when even with a film, which is a piece of entertainment, if you don't like it, suddenly you're stupid? I did understand. Of course I understood. I understood every single message in it. But to me, it was like going to the Peacock Theatre in Woking and watching a panto. That's how unsubtle it was. And then I compared it to, for example, Being the Ricardos, which is I thought was sensationally good, with Nicole Kidman and Javier, help me out, Javier Bardem, have I pronounced that right? Vaguely?
Yeah.
I thought it was terrific.
So for those that don't know, Don't Look Up is a satire. It's a modern day satire about a comet, a meteor that is coming to Earth. It's discovered by Leonardo DiCaprio and his research assistant, Jennifer Lawrence. And they go to the White House, where Meryl Streep is there as the president, and she takes it all in. She takes it very lightly. She doesn't sort of pick up on the import of this meteor that arises. You very quickly, at that moment, once you meet the Meryl Streep character, you realize it's a satire. Up until that point, you think, is this just a drama, a straight drama? And then you realize it's basically ridiculous. What I think is that we as Brits are better at satire than the Americans.
Totally.
This is laid on too thick. It's like a painting that's got several layers of paint when actually you could have painted the same image in a more subtle way.
If Charlie Brooker had written it, if Charlie Brooker had written this, it would have been sensational. Or I can never pronounce his name. Armando, I always say Iannucci.
Armando Iannucci.
Oh, Iannucci. Well, he's a genius. I mean, he is just gifted. And if he'd have done it, it would have been marvelous. But the Americans, with great respect, and they make fabulous films. Yeah. And I love America. I always have. I'm not being rude, but it was just, as I said, it was panto. I was expecting Bobby Crush to come on any minute.
It was unsubtle. And
I will say, though, I am actually sort of pleasantly surprised at the fact that any American can come up with the notion that indeed females can be presidents. Who knew that? Well done, America. If only you could translate that into real life, but let's not worry about that for now.
Indeed.
You got this, Paul Andrews. I really just
Being the Ricardos, which for those that don't know, is the filmed story, if you like, of Lucille Ball and her husband Desi Arnaz. And I Love Lucy was an American film.
Oh, what?
It was a song from the 1950s and 60s. And Lucille and her husband Desi were married. He was, I think, Cuban leader, and she's a sort of she plays the part of a ditzy American housewife. She'd been a sort of B actress in the movies up until that point, and then
since the age of 14.
Yeah, and then into television. And it is an extraordinary story. I'll review it probably a little bit further sometime, in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But It is absolutely brilliant. It's well worth watching. It's a real life story, basically about McCarthyism and how Lucille Ball is accused of being a communist. It's a fascinating story. It's on Netflix and it's definitely worth watching. And it's called.
And Nicole Kidman is.
Hang on. It's called. Whoa. It's called what? Sorry.
Being the Ricardos.
Thank you.
Being the Ricardos.
Yeah.
And if you're old enough to remember I Love Lucy, the black and white stuff, which I am, Phil probably won't, but I used to love it.
But it doesn't mean I haven't watched it.
Watching it with my mum and dad.
Can I just say one of the happiest moments actually sort of was when I was in America one time. We were staying in an apartment in Colorado. We had nothing to do because the weather was so vile outside. So we put the television on. There was a rerun of I Love Lucy. Honestly, one of the happiest moments of my life because I actually felt like an American citizen for that moment. It was just brilliant. Loved it.
You remember there were the neighbors who were the constant people, Fred and Ethel, who lived next door. And they've got J.K. Simmons, who was incredible in Whiplash. And also
not J.K. Rowling.
No, J.K. Simmons.
No, J.K. Simmons, who was also great in Nice Try. I'm not catching the bait. And he was also terrific. He's very good as, in the Spider-Man films. And they've got it so right. But it's the subtext of the people versus the people they're pretending to be. Anyway, there we are. You're going to talk about it at length. I won't spoil.
Yeah,
I won't spoil.
But very briefly, Being the Ricardos, if you're interested in film and television, and you guys are wordsmiths too, you're very interested in how the written word and the spoken word is created for entertainment purposes. This film, Being the Ricardos, tells you so much about how a sitcom is created. You really learn, you really understand how the writer's room works together, how they talk about timing and pacing, what works, what doesn't, what joke they're going to start the program with and why. It gives you so much information. And if you're interested in behind the scenes, in the real way of using that phrase, it's a great film to give you some understanding.
And what it also does, Chantal, of course, is highlight the difference when you're talking about construction of the way British television works and American television works. British television would be some idiot like me will write a script. Hooray, we love it. I never hear from them again. The script goes, I'm out. I'm not even allowed in the studio. Boom, they've got my script, and then it's taken on. The American thing is, as Chantal has just said, you have a writing room full of writers, not like a twerp like me. There might be up to 12 writers, could be more. And they're there. They shoot it often live. If the gag doesn't go down well, they stop the show. They go back in the writing room. They rewrite the gag to get a bigger reaction. Very different from the way that we do it over here. Once it's written and it doesn't get changed. That's it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Really interesting. So as a bit of a counterbalance to that, the BBC's pulled out some fabulous dramas for 2022. Some of them are just pure fiction. But the first one I'm going to mention is something called 4 Lives. Often through dramatic pieces, we are finding out about real life happenings. And 4 Lives actually is about the rather horrendous murder of 4 young gay men who were killed, and the complete and utter screw up, excuse the phrase, that the police brought to the detective work. They served the public and the families incredibly badly. 4 Lives on BBC One. There are 3 parts. It's been held back for 2 years. It's made 2.5, 3 years ago. And the court case, the inquiry about the mishandling of the police work into the murder of these 4 young men has only just finished.
Wow.
Which is why the BBC now felt able to put this drama out. Sheridan Smith plays the mother of the first young victim, and Stephen Merchant is the perpetrator. He is cold, he is callous, he is bizarre. He plays a bad guy really, really well. And Sheridan Smith plays a normal working class mum from Hull so deftly and so beautifully. You get completely caught up in the stories of the families. So it's not really about the crimes themselves. It's actually about the police inquiry and the dramatic effect it had on the four families concerned. It's really well worth watching. It's only 3 1-hours on BBC. They're all on the iPlayer at the moment. And it's a really interesting understanding.
Downloading it as we speak. So.
This goes back to Phil's point, doesn't it? Of Stephen Merchant, you think, Stephen Merchant, funny guy, 28 feet tall, Ricky Gervais's bloke. And it is amazing how someone like that can pull out of the hat a truly three-dimensional performance where everyone's raving about it. But very often comedians are actually very, very good actors and can be Bradley Walsh, who you think of him as sort of light and fluffy in The Chase, which he does a stunning job on. I mean, my God, it's so entertaining. But then when you see him in the Law and Order, the UK version, he's just excellent in it. There's no hint of the comedian. I mean, that's gone. You just see a tremendous actor.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Definitely.
Jeff Stevenson's. I must say, Jeff Stevenson, who a couple of years back said, "Should I do this film I've been offered?" I said, "Go and do it." And he's fab. It's called Touching the Blue, about a snooker player, and it's basically a monologue. It's just he's fantastic in it.
Yeah,
you know.
Let me just clarify something. It's not Ed Miliband in it, is it?
No.
Just making sure.
He's definitely not Ed Miliband.
Just like to clarify these things. That's all.
No. Anyway, it's definitely worth watching, and it's on BBC iPlayer at the moment. But as a counterbalance to that, you mentioned very briefly Charlie Brooker. Charlie Brooker is a great writer. He used to do something on Channel 4 called the TV Wipe, which was a weekly satirical roundup of what was in the news. In 2021, he created something called Death to in 2020, he created something called Death to 2020, and it was the roundup of the year's news, done in a satirical way with some sort of celebrities playing some guest spots, and it's silly nonsense.
That's the woman, Philomena Kunk.
Yeah, indeed. That was one of his characters.
She is just genius.
So
how she delivers that with a straight face, Chantel, I don't know.
She's a good actress.
Such a great actress she is.
Yeah. So he's done it again. It's out there. It's on Netflix. It's called Death to 2021, clearly. And there are some lovely sort of cameo pieces, most particularly from Hugh Grant, who I think just gets better and better with age.
Hugh Grant was amazing in that.
And he plays a sort of right-wing fascist historian. And in the sort of opening 1 minute, he comes out with a line which is something along the lines of, he refuses to dance the wokey cokey, which is the line I've already stolen.
But so again, he disappears into the character. There's no Hugh Grant left. You don't see that bum. Oh, God. Gone. He's completely believable as this bloke, this historian. It's fantastic.
I have absolutely no idea what is going on with my microphone today. I can only apologize. Ramsey's now saying...
That's way better.
Is that okay? No, do you know what? Sorry about that. Ramsey's saying, Phil, can you please warn me when you're going to speak? My ears are bashing. Taking a bashing. Please fix your EQ. Good work. Thank you.
This is a film I haven't seen yet. Just putting it up there. Power of the Dog. It's got Don. The Power of the Dog. I will definitely talk about over the next few weeks. It is absolutely one of the biggest contenders for Oscars and BAFTAs. Oh, is it?
Starring Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
A mid-19th century rancher in Oregon, I think. But I'll tell you more about that over the next few weeks. There's so much good stuff out there.
There's tons of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tons. It's been like an avalanche of really good stuff.
I'm playing an awful lot of catch up at the moment with episodes of Who Do You Think You Are? Now, I know this is ridiculous because, of course, they've been around for ages. But actually, there's something I was quite convinced, and this is probably why I was sort of not really watch them as and when they're released. I don't find other people's lives that interesting. right? But as a standard rule of thumb, I'm quite inward looking.
Spoken as a true narcissist.
No, I know. I'm quite inward looking. So, I mean, to me, the prospect of finding out about someone else's family history, please, I'm very happy for you. You're here, get over it. But for me, actually, when I did actually
You're so giving, aren't you?
No, I know, but to actually sort of sit down and to force myself to watch it, actually, you know what? It is blooming good. The way that it's put together. If you haven't actually sort of seen Who Do You Think You Are, it is truly fascinating. There's always something for everybody.
The Judi Dench episode that came out a few weeks ago is sheer class.
Excellent. I haven't watched it yet. It's on my download list, so I will watch it. But...
Download list.
Anyway, something else just for the Clarkson fans, and I know, Phil, that doesn't really include you, but they did a one-off.
No, it's not. I'm not that I'm wholly against Clarkson. I can understand his appeal. I'm just not the biggest fan of somebody who punches their producer and gets away with it.
Did it once, Phil? He didn't invade Poland and do genocide. He was in a bad mood and he slapped a producer. The producer got $100,000. Move on.
Okay.
Whatever. Anyway, yep. Do carry on. I'm so sorry, Chantal.
Anyway, Amazon put the naughty three boys back together, the Top Gear boys back together for a Christmas special.
Grand Tour.
Carnage à Trois. And it's basically Car Carnage. It's a good title. It's quite fun. And the three of them have a go at the French for an hour. And they just humiliate the French. They say France is only worth having just because it's a nice drive to get to Italy, to go through France. They absolutely sort of mutilate France from top to bottom. And eventually,
I don't know why that amuses us so much, but it just does.
The final scene is creating a trebuchet, which is one of those middle-aged catapults that they used to sort of send things over the walls of the castle. Exactly, but they do that with a Citroen car from the Straits of Dover. So
I have to say, when you said trebuchet, I thought you meant three butchers. Really? What's that? Sorry.
So no, they stand on the White Cliffs of Dover with a 60-foot trebuchet and a Citroen, and they try to return it and repatriate it back, which is a very good sequence and worth watching the program just for that because it's completely silly.
I shall watch that. That sounds absolutely.
Okay, no, that is. I'll give them that is amusing. Very good.
And it's on Amazon, so that's a little something.
Though I do have to say though, as Bob Monkhouse used to say, the only reason that the French agrees to the Channel Tunnel is that sort of should Germany ever invade again, they could be over here with their hands up that much quicker.
We don't laugh. Don't react, Russ. Don't react.
That's not right. Excuse me. I'm only quoting the great Bob Monkhouse. It's not my fault.
Anyway, I'm going to leave you with a documentary to watch. It's not the greatest documentary, but the story is extraordinary. It starts out as the story of a real life story. Clearly, it's a documentary. A 19-year-old American woman who creates a $9 billion business. She becomes the youngest billionaire until everything goes
wrong.
And the title is the Inventor, which she clearly wasn't, Out for Blood. And basically she suggests to the world that she has created a machine that with one drop of blood, not an armful or not even half an armful.
Not even a Tony Hancock full.
Not a Tony Hancock
drop.
But one drop of blood, they can detect up to 200 different diseases. And this is going to revolutionize detection of illness. But basically, the whole thing is a complete scam from top to bottom.
Everything about her was phony. Everything, even her voice.
It
wasn't even her proper voice.
The
Elizabeth Holmes was her name.
That was perpetrated is extraordinary for a young woman who has absolutely no background in what she was talking about at all. But people believed in her. Great, people who
Bill Gates, Henry Kissinger,
Bill Gates, exactly.
Clintons.
They all supported her. She got money from Bill Gates.
Billions.
Please, you can't use the Clintons as an example. They believe each other, for crying out loud.
Very good point.
Anyway, it's a great story. It's not a brilliant documentary. It's not beautifully made, but the story itself sort of holds up. You are transfixed by this.
Chantal, remind us what it's called.
It is called The Inventor, Out for Blood, and it's on Sky Documentaries channel.
Excellent.
Damn it! No wonder I haven't.
I'm looking forward.
It'll
Fantastic.
go elsewhere.
Thank you,
and
Chantal.
she's facing a long jail sentence now.
Yeah, she is facing a very long jail sentence. And if you want a long read, on the BBC News website at the moment, there is a long, what they call a long read, which gives you all the background into it. And it's an extraordinary story.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Emperor's
As
New
are
Clothes.
you, Chantal. Thank you so
here,
much.
Great
And
pleasure.
can I just say how nice it was to see you in person this week? That was very exciting.
I know. How lovely was that?
It was delight. It was absolutely delightful.
And
And enjoy the mugs. We love them. One more shot of the mug before we go. One more shot. Beautiful.
It's a mug shot. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye,
Chantal.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. There we go. Well, of course, that's it for today. Thank you very much to Chantal Rickards. Thank you very much for your comments. Of course, you know we do appreciate them, even if they do get a bit heated sometimes. I do apologize profusely if any stage anyone was maybe listening to me with some sense of decibels that was quite deafening, so I'm very sorry about that. Okay, can I just say how nice it is to be back?
It's lovely to be back. No, it's charming.
Well, in that case, we'll do it on Monday.
We're going to do this. Monday's a very big Monday. Big show Monday. Really serious. Seriously.
Right,
See
we're
you
over
soon.
time. Shut up now. Bye.